Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sydney. I film cruelty-free beauty videos 3 times a week. Today's video is going to be my October beauty budget update. If you guys haven't been keeping up with the series, I started truly budgeting for makeup in September, I believe. Maybe it was October, September or October. And I gave myself a budget of $50 a month, which seems, honestly, in my head, I thought I was already just spending $50 a month, but I feel like now that I'm super keeping track of my spending and really writing things down and limiting myself, I was probably spending closer to $100 a month on makeup, which is crazy talk because I have so much makeup, it's not even funny. I probably could go on a no-buy and honestly be totally fine, but I love to buy makeup, I love to try new products, so I use this as kind of a way to limit the makeup that I'm bringing in and make more conscious decisions about the purchases that I am making. I feel like the biggest benefit that I found from this series is that I am being so much more thoughtful about my makeup purchases. Not that I wasn't before, I always was excited to try the products that I was buying, but now I'm super thinking through every single purchase. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about what I spent my October budget on, things that were tempting me, and just kind of some revelations that I had throughout this period of my beauty budget. So without further rambling, let's hop into it. So first, I want to touch really briefly on kind of some revelations. I want to say revelations, but that's very dramatic. It's not that dramatic, it's just makeup. But some things that I noticed about myself and kind of my buying habits as I was kind of going through this month. So October has been a very busy, very stressful month for me. I'm in college, and this point in the semester it was like midterms. I had a huge paper and it's just been like bam, bam, bam. And so it was an extremely stressful time for me, and I have noticed so much that when I get stressed out, I want to shop. And it's not even just limited to makeup because I'm not gonna lie, I went to Marshall's the other day and I did some damage, but I want to shop. That's my response when I get stressed out, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I do feel better after I go shopping. Not that that's a great habit to perpetuate. I just thought that was interesting that I kind of really noticed that in myself. And then another thing, I was pretty proud of myself. This is like a little victory. That's like I noticed that about myself. I'm not super happy with that, but this little victory that I had was on the 12th. I got a coupon in my email for 20% off, or maybe I found it on Instagram. I don't know. I had a coupon for 20% off my purchase in Sephora that day. I was going to a Sephora, which literally only happens maybe 5 or 6 times a year. There's not one where near I live. And I was going to an Ulta. I had an Ulta coupon too. And I walked into Sephora with the intention of buying either the Hourglass topper set, which I'll insert a picture of right here, or the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, or the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I was on the hunt. I was ready to buy, but the Sephora that I went to didn't actually have either of those brands, so I kind of just took that as a sign, as it wasn't meant to be. I almost impulse bought the Milk MVP set right there. I literally had it in my hand. I was gonna watch the checkout and I'm like, you know what? I don't need this, because really the only thing that I wanted in there was that little mini bronzer stick, and there are actually some options at the drugstore that I could try. I've heard that Physicians Formula has a really awesome bronzer stick now, and if I really do want to try that Milk bronzing stick, I might as well just buy the full size for $24 rather than spending $42 on the set that I was gonna buy plus my coupon. Oh, another thing that I really walked in there to buy was the Fenty Gloss set. I've sworn up and down that I was gonna buy that set. I actually did a whole video on kind of decluttering my holiday set wish list on camera with you guys. I kind of talk through the purchases, we look at some swatches, we look at what I already have in my collection. I'll link that down below if you guys are interested, and stay tuned because I actually dupe some of those holiday releases with things that I already own in my collection. So I kind of did a hey, I'm not buying this, but I'm using this instead. Maybe you guys want to do the same, so make sure you stay subscribed to see that. So I spent the majority of my budget about halfway through my month. Okay, let's be real, I spent all of my budget about the halfway point in my month, and I thought this was really interesting because both months, both September and October, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna save my money. I know there are things that are coming out soon that I'm gonna want, and there are sales, and it's Christmas, and all these sets are coming out. I'm gonna save my money. And then I get about midway through the month and a sale happens or something comes out that I'm dying to get, and it all just goes out the window. So I thought that was pretty darn interesting as well. So let's move into the products that I actually bought. So I made 2 makeup purchases in the month of October, and I actually made them in the same day, which I thought was very interesting. So I blew my entire budget and then some in the very same day. So the first thing that I needed was a new brow pencil, and so I just grabbed the CoverGirl brow pencil. I think this is the Microfine brow pencil? Ultra Fine brow pencil, Microfine, it was close. But I got this at Meijer for about $7. It was a little more than I wanted to spend on a brow pencil, honestly. I was ready to like grab one from Essence and call it a day. I really don't think I'm even a fan of this like super tiny, precise brow pencil shape. I have pretty full brows naturally. I just feel like my arch needs a little bit of shaping and I like to fill them in a little bit. So I don't feel like I necessarily need this little tiny tip. I feel like I would almost prefer a thicker tip because it would be faster to fill my brows in and less time consuming. So not sure if I'm totally in love with this, but this is what I spent the first $7 of my budget on. And then something happened. A sale happened that I just couldn't say no to. So the next purchase that I made was with the brand Kaleido Cosmetics. If you guys have been watching my Instagram stories, which if you're not following me there, you should. I'll link it down below. You guys will know that I've been wanting to try Kaleido Cosmetics for such a long time. I've been following them on Instagram for absolutely forever, and they had a free shipping promo, which their shadows are already pretty expensive to begin with, but they're actually based in Germany, so international shipping is kind of expensive. And I knew that if I wanted to make a palette and ship it to the US, it would cost me almost $70. So without that shipping charge on that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a palette. So I did make a palette. Here's a little sneak peek because I do plan on doing a full video on these shadows, on my palette, on the colors that I picked. I'm so excited to put that up for you guys. But there's a little sneak peek of my palette. I did do the kind of build your own palette feature, and they have that on their website. So if you do it that way, if you create a full and complete palette and order like their magnetic palette to go along with it, it's a bit of a discount. I think it's about 30% off. So this was $58, which is quite pricey, but it's something that I've wanted to try for so very long. So that means that I spent a grand total of $65 this month, which is $15 over my budget. I was thinking to myself, you know what, you've gone over your budget 2 months in a row. What do we need to do to help you stick into your budget? Like, do I need to penalize myself? Should I increase my budget, which I don't think I'm going to do? But I feel like part of the reason why I wanted to make my budget was because I felt like I was buying makeup thoughtlessly. And I feel like with this very minimal budget, well, I mean, it could obviously be more minimal. I could have no budget at all. But with this very minimal budget, I'm much more careful and much more thoughtful about my purchases. And honestly, once I got this palette, and obviously the brow pencil was just something that I kind of needed, but once I bought this palette, I felt satisfied for the month. And it wasn't something that I like bought and I like instantly regret. I'm like, I wish I didn't spend my budget on that. But I just feel like I'm making so much more thoughtful purchases. I'm really thinking things through and I'm not just buying on impulse. So honestly, I'm not that upset with myself for going over my budget because I still feel like it's mostly serving its purpose. So I may start penalizing myself in the future if I can't like get it down, which, oh my gosh, November I'm really worried about because Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday sales, there are a lot of indie brands that I've really been wanting to try, and if they have some pretty good Black Friday sales, that's going to be extremely tempting, along with any holiday sets that go on sale over Black Friday. And then I know December is also going to be kind of difficult because holiday sets tend to go on sale the closer it gets to Christmas and then right after Christmas as well, so we will have to see there. So now I do want to talk briefly about some temptations that I had, so let's hop into those. Okay, so the only two temptations that really stuck out in my head a lot that carried over from last month were the So Jaded palette and the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. If you guys have like seen me on Instagram or you have the Metropolis palette, I'm probably commenting on every single photo that I see. Oh my gosh, I want that palette so bad. I hope it goes on sale, blah, blah, blah. But this Metropolis palette just has a hold on me in a way that no palette has had before. Okay, that's a lie. Not no palette has ever had before, but a palette of this price. Usually the price alone just completely is like, oh yeah, I will never own that. I'm not going to have it. But this one, I don't know. There's something about it. It's just really got me. I did try to dupe it with my singles. I can link that video down below. I felt like I created a pretty decent dupe, but I think it's the formula that I want to try so badly. I've also really been thinking about the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette a lot because kind of when I saw Metropolis, the Sunrise palette kind of got pushed out of my mind, but that one's right back in there. And then also the So Jaded palette is still kind of weighing on my mind a little bit. I think I'm going to ask for this one for Christmas and see if someone will get it for me as a gift. That would be really awesome. Another one that really tempted me this month is the Moonspell palette from Lunar Beauty. I feel like everyone has been talking about this palette, and for good reason. It is absolutely stunning. It's Lunar Beauty's holiday launch, I believe. I think someone said in their video that this was their holiday launch. that they were going to do like Halloween instead of Christmas, which I thought was kind of cool. I feel like there's a little bit less competition for like a Halloween themed palette, but I fell head over heels for this palette. I thought it was so beautiful. I also did a Shop My Stash or Dupes video on that one, so I'll link that below as well for you guys. Obviously, I was tempted by the Fenty Beauty Glossy Posse and the Hourglass Scattered Lights. I already touched on this briefly. And the only other thing that I was tempted by was the Jaclyn Hill brush set when it was half off at Ulta. I think I also had a coupon in addition to it being half off. So I was kind of like, oh, that's a really good deal and I really like brushes. But you guys, I don't like Morphe brushes. I have a couple in my collection. I have one set and then I have a couple singles, but I just feel like there's so much better quality out there and I don't want to continually spend my money on brushes that I'm not going to love. Plus, I'm like a brush hoarder. I have more than enough brushes, so I'm glad I was actually able to say no to that one. But for a couple days, that was a very, very strong temptation, so I kind of wanted to note it. But that's going to wrap up this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know down below how you guys are doing on your low buy or your no buy. And if you're on a low buy, let me know how you're kind of like cutting yourself off. Like, are you cutting yourself off like in the amount of products that you buy? Are you cutting yourself off in a monetary value? I'd be really interested to know, because I feel like I could just as easily kind of cut my, well, maybe not just as easily, but if I had a little bit of a bigger like budget period for fun stuff, I could cut myself off at like 2 or 3 products per month, and I feel like that would also serve a very similar function to this budget for me, because in the past couple of months I've been buying 1 or 2 really big things with my budget, not really a couple little small things. So I'd be interested to know if you guys do things differently. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to catch up on the rest of the series, I'll link the other videos down below. But that's gonna wrap it up for me today, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. That I'm bringing in to make more conscious decisions. Oh, can I talk today? And make more conscious decisions. Apparently not. And make more conscious decisions. Oh, okay. The whole reason I wanted to